Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up and maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. It's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you're subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks. So once again, if you want to help support my channel, it would mean the absolute world to me. And I would thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link in there somewhere. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants Do Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,600 members in the group. It is doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants Do Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, guys. Well, yep, there it is. Right. High noon, baby. Well, whatever, midnight. So it's free agency is here. Let the games begin. So actually it's not as of right now free agency, meaning Monday, but it is the legal tampering, right? And I'm sure if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, baby, right? What was the motto of not of a lot of teams, but I mean one of them was the I know LaDainian Tomlinson mentioned that about the Patriots, back in their day with Brady there. It's like, man, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? So, but, of course, you're not supposed to, let's see, is it 10 o'clock? Well, all right, what is it? Legal tampering begins. For all intents and purposes, it is the start of free agency. Teams can begin negotiating contracts with free agents at noon. High noon, baby. Yeah, so that's when they're supposed to. Now, of course, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? Of course, there's been stuff going on. Whatever they are. I can't say every team, can't say with all the players, is that and the other thing, but there's been some stuff going on. Obviously behind the scenes, and gonna read something here. That's where they want it to stay, behind the scenes, because you're not allowed to talk before the legal tampering. You can talk to your own guys, your own free agents, right? As we're going to talk just a little bit down in the farther down in this program here. You can with your own free agents, and the Giants have been bringing back some low profile guys. Now it does kind of show you obviously where the Giants head is at, right? They haven't as of right now, right? They haven't reached terms with Pinnock, Slayton, or Azeez Ojulari. Now you can probably kiss them goodbye. The thing is with Azeez, now when the guy's healthy, right, he certainly is a plus. That is for sure, without question. But when he was on his rookie contract, when he was healthy, he was a real plus. Now he's not. Now we got 2 minuses, right? Now he's not on his rookie deal, so somebody's going to pay him. I don't know what. I don't know. Right? Don't know. But he ain't going to be making $900,000, whatever, $1 million a year. Going to be making more than that. And the other thing that, of course, is he still gets injured. Now, maybe, possibly, there are some teams that magically are delicious. No, they magically don't get injured that much. Eagles being one of them. Right? Some reason players go to the Eagles and they just seem to magically stay healthy, or they come here to the Giants and somehow they magically get injured. Right? So maybe he might go to a team that, that might be one of his, he might want to, if he has a chance, maybe go to a team that plays on grass, right? Or maybe has a good track record of staying healthy or whatever. But, so with disease, he gets injured, right? So when you get a healthy disease, is he a difference maker? Difference maker. Do you know he's on the field? Yep. Yes, you certainly do. But, as we've seen with the Giants, he gets injured quite a bit. Of course, now, with Slayton, did a video, whatever it was. I'm an idiot. I can't remember. It was the last few nights ago. According to the article, well, maybe now, very interesting. Since DK Metcalf, was it a second round they traded for him? Steelers, right? I believe it was the Steelers. Steelers or the Raiders. One of those two teams got Metcalf. So I think it was for a second round. And they wanted like a first and a third or something like that for him. They got a second. And I think they switched. Where did DK Metcalf go? I'm trying to think. Did he get there? Trying to think. Oh, yeah. Because did he go? Is he following Geno Smith? No, it is the Seahawks straight to the Steelers. Okay, it's the Steelers. Okay. All right. Okay. But I'm saying the Steelers were, according to the one article that I read about Slayton, the Steelers were one of the ones that were interested in possibly Slayton. Well, now they just got Mr. Metcalf in there. I'm not sure if they're going to bring in Metcalf and Slayton. That would be a nice chunk of change for two wide receivers. But Slayton, according to the article, the Chargers, right, and the Panthers, two teams that could probably use his services, right? He's not going to be $10 to $15 million a year range, right? So quite possibly not bring him back. Now, the thing is also another thing, he wants the Do-Re May. Don't blame him, right? You got Myles Garrett out there now. Somehow we're up to $40 million on a year on edge rushers or edge defenders, defensive ends, edge rushers, whatever you want to call Myles Garrett. Dude's unbelievable. I get it, but now we're up to the $40 million mark for anyway. So so Slayton wants his piece of the pie, as Jerry Jones says, right? And he wants possibly to be on a winner. It's something he ain't going to say with the Giants, and he wants to be involved, and that's not something he's going to get with the Giants. Now, unless Wandell or Malik Neighbors gets injured, but as long as those two guys are healthy and on the field, the lion's share of the targets are going to those guys. And of course, now the Giants. We're going to talk about this a little bit in our program. Is abbreviated version. I only got like 4 things to talk about here tonight. But one of the things the Giants are going to need will be another wide receiver, without question. Don't know if they're going to target that mid range. It doesn't have to be nothing crazy, right? But they can target that in the draft, or they can get that in free agency. But what they got, on the roster. They got Malik and Wandell, and then Hyatt, right? So that's another one of the things. So the Giants brought back some guys. Well, obviously, all the guys that they really brought back are pretty much on the cheap, right? But once again, you got to have those cheap guys because everybody can't make $40 million a year like Myles Garrett does, right? So they brought back some. So you kind of figure out, kind of see like where the Giants' heads at that particular point in time are at. Now we'll have to wait and see, right? Where they go. Is there a big trade, or is there a big signing? Is it that? So we will wait and see. Let's see. So kind of officially, unofficially, whatever you want to call it, right? The NFL's legal tampering period, okay, is set to begin on Monday. For all intents and purposes, it is the start of free agency. Teams can begin negotiating contracts with free agents at noon Eastern Daylight Time on Monday, meaning today, because right now it's 12:09 here in South Jersey, Monday morning. Why is it called the legal tampering period? Technically, the new league year does not start until Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern. That is the official expiration time of players' contracts ending after the 2024 season. So until Wednesday, players are technically still under contract with their former teams. Negotiating with a player under contract to another team is tampering. Ooh. However, since 2013, the league has allowed teams to start, which I like this. I really like this. The negotiating with players 2 days before the start of the new league year. Thus, the 2 days before the start of the league year are the legal tampering period, which I like that. You know, I mean, man, it's, you know, you're waking up on Monday and all of a sudden your ESPN app or your NFL app starts just erupting, right? Like Mount Krakatoa, right? So-and-so is going here, so-and-so is going, especially the, you know, it's the, you know, especially the first day, because I mean, that's when, you know, first day, couple days, that's when the booming contracts are. So-and-so, Rodgers goes to wherever, right? You know, on a 2-year, you know, $40 million, you know, per year, 40 million, you know, I mean, so-and-so goes here, you know, so-and-so, you know, I mean, so that, a lot of the big boomers, right, happen early, right? And then it starts kind of fizzling down a little bit, but there's always free agents out there. And some free agents are just out there for like months, right? So why does the NFL do this with the illegal, the legal tampering period? The league found that there was widespread rule breaking. Shocking. Teams out there breaking the rules. Hard to believe, huh? Rule breaking that involved teams illegally negotiating with free agents and thus tampering before the official start of free agency. So they decided to make it legal. And even before that, and the thing is, the kicker of it is that, you know, there's the illegal tampering period, and still that's not good enough. There's teams out there, shocking, that are still breaking the rules, that are tampering before the legal tampering period. Hard to believe. Now, I think this article has it in here. Does it? Well, there was one of them I read. Oh, anyway. Wait, you're saying the league found instances of rule breaking, and then instead of enforcing the rules, they changed them to make the rule breaking legal, and they're still breaking the rule anyway? Yes. Won't this just encourage teams to further break the rules and negotiate with players before the start of the legal tampering period? Yep, absolutely. It seems like the league has provided an incentive for it and no deterrence against it. Judge for yourself when you see how many big money deals are reported just minutes after noon. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big ones. It's amazing. So you know, hard to believe, but there are teams that are still obviously, and it's always gonna. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, baby. Right? That's the world of the NFL we live in. Right? So obviously, there's teams that are tampering before the legal tampering period. Is there anything else I need to know? Because the new league year does not begin until Wednesday, contracts cannot officially be signed until then. In almost every case, this is merely formality. However, it does give some players time to change their mind, as was the case in 2019, though, when the Jets thought that they landed Anthony Barr. Barr initially agreed to join the Jets, but then switched gears and signed with the Minnesota Vikings. Is this it? Okay, here we go. This is it. I think this. Let's see. There we go. It's important to note that during the legal tampering period, players looking for new deals can only negotiate contracts with the team through certified representation or an agent. The Falcons were forced to forfeit a 2025 fifth-round pick this year and pay a $250,000 fine, which is like me paying a penny, right? Because the quarterback Kirk Cousins revealed in his introductory press conference that he spoke with the Falcons' head athletic trainer and their head of public relations before he was allowed to. That's a no-no. So, Kirk Cousins spilling the beans, right? So, but I mean, it's exciting. I mean, it's yeah, great way to start the week off. Instead of waiting a Wednesday at 4:00. Come on, man, right? Let's get this ball rolling. As I said, that's why I love them, and they do this on purpose, and they do a fantastic job of it. I mean, you got what? Yeah, January, you got the end of the season, then you got the playoffs. Then in February, you got the Super Bowl. Then you got then toward the end of February, you got the combine. Then like 10 days later or whatever, basically a week and a half or so later, right? You got the legal tampering, and 2 days after that, everywhere the free agents sign, and then you got free agents, going here and there for the next couple of weeks, and then I said there'll be free agents out there, for months. Some free agents, some old time free agents, right? That can maybe get away with it, don't seem to sign until maybe after training camp's halfway over or almost all the way over or whatever, because they don't want to go to training camp. Well, because also true, some of them are just going to be out. Like you might find an edge rusher out there who'll get you whatever, he might be 33 years old. If you put him in there in situations, and if he can stay healthy and this, that, and the other thing, he'll get you 8 sacks in a season. And they just don't. Some of them, every now and then, they don't sign until almost the season starts, or just toward the end of training camp, or whatever, because I don't want to go to training camp. It's like, dude, I'm 33 years old. I've been in the league for 10 years. I know what training camp's about. I'm in shape. I'm a situational edge rusher. I'm only going to get 25 snaps a game. I'll get you 1 sack every other game. Right? That's what you're paying me for. So I need 25 snaps. I can do that on my head, standing on my head. I don't need training camp. So there'll always be, plenty of free agents out there. But of course, the big deals going to be reported in about less than 12 hours from now. So as I said, once 12 o'clock rolls around, it just be like boom, 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 boom. It's like the 4th of July, baby. So let the games begin. Now, I got which one? All right. Now, how might the Giants spend their money? So this is like a kind of like a 2-part kind of thing here. So the first thing is, how might the Giants wind up spending their money? Now, they have, $40 to $50 million in cap space to spend. Now, of course, that doesn't include, they obviously have to sign their draft class. So that's going to cost them probably around like $10 million because, to sign. Because basically the way it works out is that it's only the top 51 that go against the salary cap. Now, the, player usually 51, player number 50 and 40, and the guys at the bottom, they're all making about the same amount of money. They're all making $900,000, maybe $1 million. So the guys that they draft in the 4th round, the 5th round, whatever, they're all making about the same as those bottom guys are. The $1 million. So they all kind of cancel each other out. But what won't cancel each other out will be like their top couple, maybe first 2 picks, because they got picked. I think it's 3 and 34. They got the 3rd pick in the 1st, 2nd in the 2nd, and the 1st in the 3rd. First pick in the 3rd round. So guaranteed their first, unless they do some kind of trading. But as of right now, their first round pick number 3, and pick number 34, those 2 picks will go against the Giants salary cap, because pick number 3 is going to, I forgot what it is, but he's going to be making like $8 million. I forgot what it was, 9 million or something like that. Whatever the scale is, pick number 1 guy makes 10 million. Pick number 2 guy makes like 9. Pick number 3 makes like 8 or whatever it is. And then the 34th pick overall, the guy's going to make maybe a couple million. So those 2 guys are going to count toward the cap. So if the Giants have about $45 to $50 million in salary cap, those first two picks are going to, that's $10 million that's coming right off the cap right there. Okay. So the Giants have, 35 to 40 million, right, as of right now. Okay. In cap space. Now the Giants can certainly do, let some guys go. Some guys are due like roster bonuses if they're on the roster at the start of the new league year. So that's a key thing right there. So you notice that some of these players are being let go, right? Because they have like roster bonuses. If you're on the roster at the beginning of the new league year, which is Wednesday at 4:00, right? Some of these players, these free agents that sign contracts in years prior, some of them they have these roster bonuses, and so teams, if they don't have any inkling on re-signing these guys, or they don't think they can re-sign them, they just let them go, so they can, so that they're not on the hook for that roster bonus. Okay, so there are certain guys the Giants can certainly let go. I've seen quite a few. I've seen Motor Singletary, unfortunately, right? The Giants, I'm not sure how high they are on Eric Gray, right? But the Giants, there's a ton of running backs out there. Giants could bring a running backs in. They got Turbo Miller, right? Maybe, right? But they might keep their Motor. Don't know, right? But they could let him go. I've seen articles where they might think about maybe letting him go and saving a few $1 million this season. Graham Gano, let him go, save a few $1 million this season. Nacho, same thing. Let him go, save a few $1 million this season. Also, I've seen it where it's like Bobby Okereke. Crazy as that sounds, because you figure in 2023, the guy was flying around all over the field in Wink's system. Wink was putting him in Wink's system, the best situation to be successful. Now, of course, Wink was there, right, with his defense and all that. Then they brought a Okereke in, and then it's like, they went to Wink. It's like, what do you think we get a Okereke? Can you, what can you do with him? Would he prosper in your system? And we saw with Wink's system, Okereke, there was 149 tackles. He played in every defensive snap. Right now, of course, this past season, he did get injured with his back. Something to keep an eye on. But with Wing gone, you bring in Bowen, and now with his system, not everybody, not all players are equal, right? His system may not put all the players in the best position to be successful, like with Wink. Now, let's not also forget Pinnock, right? 2 years ago, Pinnock with Martindale had a bigger impact than maybe this past season with Bowen. So that's why one of the things, the Giants may not be bringing Pinnock back, right? Because with the Bowen defense, his schematics, right, scheme, Pinnock may not be as worthy or worthwhile to keep as was with Wink, right? And the thing is, with Pinnock, Pinnock's not it wouldn't cost. He's not costing Xavier McKinney money. Xavier McKinney was $17 million with the Packers. Pinnock's not costing that much, but it doesn't seem like the Giants are bringing him back, right? So I even heard that. That the possible cap casualty might be Bobby Okereke. I would just for a guy who can make tackles all over the freaking place, right, for $10 million a year, I would find it rather odd that the Giants, I don't know, try to put the guys in the best positions possible to be successful. And Bowen's defense didn't seem to do that with Okereke. Now, as I said, the thing's going to be interesting to see, right, because, with his back. Right, so, but the Giants certainly could let some players go, free up some cash, anywhere probably from $10 to $15 million if they will let some players go. They can also restructure many contracts. There's at least 5 contracts I saw that they could restructure and free up like maybe another 30 or 40 million. So the Giants could really theoretically, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but theoretically come up with probably $80 to $90 million after their maybe $80 million after signing their draft class, right? They can have probably another $80 million. Could, but Shane would have to be kicking the can down the road with some of these, restructuring deals. Okay, is it worth it? We'll have to wait and see. Is it worth doing? Two points here. Is it worth doing? Okay, restructuring all these deals and kicking the can down the road. Is it worth doing it on a team that's not going to the Super Bowl? Because we're not going to the Super Bowl. Or point two, is it worth doing restructuring these deals, kicking the can down the road, bringing in a bunch of good players, right? As I said, kicking the can down the road for a coach and a GM might be fighting for their job. So it'll be interesting to see which way the Giants go. Very, very interesting to see which way they go. But how might they spend their money? Well, it's going to be interesting to see. One of the big things, as I said, if they restructure contracts and all this stuff and everything, they could come up with 70, 80 million. They could. Once again, not sure if they're going to. We'll find out. But, the biggest thing would be, what are they going to do with the quarterback position, which is our next portion of our program we're going to talk about. What are they doing with the quarterback? I mean, they got a plan in the draft, right? And, they have some inkling how maybe the first two picks might go. Who knows? Maybe they have a possible trade. Who knows? With the Titans to move up to number one. We don't know that, right? But they have an idea of maybe what might end up happening in the draft, right? We got Tommy Chicken, Cutler, Parmesan, right? You got to get at least three more quarterbacks. Now, obviously, the third quarterback, it'd be somebody, an undrafted rookie or somebody like a Tim Boyle, right? Somebody put on the practice, whatever, right? But what are they going to do at quarterback? Are they going for the jugular, right? They're going for I hope not. They're going for an Aaron Rodgers where he's going to cost you $40 million a year or whatever, right? And it would take up a large chunk of their salary cap money that they have. Or they're going to go the mid-range, right? Maybe, if Justin Fields is out there, right? Jameis Winston is out there, right? Some of these guys in the mid, not even mid-range, like maybe $10 million, 50, I don't know. I'm not sure what those guys, they're not getting $40 million a year, right? So we'll have to wait and see. That's the biggest thing. Another one of the things too is that one thing Shane was talking about in Hard Knocks last year, one of those episodes, whichever one it was, I can't remember. But he was talking about, remember one of those episodes, I don't remember if it was the first one or not. He's like on his phone where he was on a tele, and you heard him say something like, "Oh," or something like that. And it was a text came to his phone. And he's like, and it mentioned what the salary cap was going to be, and it went up. This was last year, obviously, right? The salary cap, so they had more money to spend. So he's like, "Oh, it's a good thing." Of course, we know where some of that extra money didn't go. Certain number 26 who won a Super Bowl with another team. Anyway, but one of the things he talked about in one of those episodes was, what do you do with that money, right? Say he's got $40 million, right? Do you bring in, we can just start at the top, work our way down. You go out and get Aaron Rodgers, boom, one guy, $40 million. There goes the cap. Do you bring in two guys, $20 million apiece? You go out and get a top-notch cornerback. I'm not sure they're going to cost you 20, but it'd be close to it, right? And you go out there and whatever, I don't know, go out and grab a nice wide receiver or somebody's going to cost you 20, whatever, right? So you get two guys, $20 million apiece. You get four guys, $10 million apiece. Do you get a $20 million? Do you get a $10 million? That's $30 million, and then you get five $2 million guys. How do you break it up? It's tough. if you go for that one boomer, the one big splash, right? They could, if everything works out, they can make a difference, right? However, if they get injured, you just spent $40 million on a guy who's on the sideline, right? If you get four $10 million guys, now you've got a pretty much plugged four. I mean, if you go out and you spend $10 million on a wide receiver, that's wide receiver number 3. If you go out and spend $10 million on a guard, okay, that's your what do we got? That would be your right guard. That's your starting right guard, right? You go out and spend $10 million on a safety. Guess what? Right now you got Newman, and you got your safety for $10 million, right? If possibly it depends on how you're going to go with a quarterback. Justin Fields could be $10 million, right? That wouldn't be a top of the echelon cornerback, but a $10 million cornerback wouldn't be bad. He would be in your starting lineup. So if you went out and you spent $40 million on 4 players, just say 10, that's 4 holes you're going to plug right there. We do know the Giants need depth, right? Because a lot of times, maybe the Giants don't always maybe do the best job at developing their players, right? One of the things they say is draft the players, develop the players, and keep the players. Well, that doesn't always happen. So one of the things is that sometimes when the starter goes down because they get injured, because they're New York Giants and they're going to get injured, the guy taking his place is a step down, right? So we need good depth, right? So I mean, you can go out and what would that be? You go out and spend $15 million on one guy, $10 million on another guy, right? That's 2 guys that you can plug and play, right away. And then you got $15 million left. Say you go out and get 5 guys at $3 million a piece. Well, they should be some good depth pieces. Players at $3 million. I mean, look at, or if you bring back somebody like a Van Roten, right? You can get him for under 3, and he was your starting guard, right? But so it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the Giants go about doing this. I mean, obviously, if they have $40 million to spend in free agency, they're not blowing it all on one player, right? But one thing Shane did bring up, he was mentioning this, and I can't remember exact wording, but it was kind of like, so what do you do, right? You go out and bring in a couple real good players that maybe can make a difference, but then you don't have any money for depth. Or you're bringing in 2 players that make a difference, but you still have all these holes, which maybe you can fill in the draft. Let's hope, right? So it'd be interesting to see exactly where the Giants kind of go on this. There's a lot of ways they can go, but usually the obviously, as we've seen in the past, the big time moves usually happen within the first few days, right? So this leads us up to this, of course, right? Yeah. So what are the Giants' biggest needs? Now, they basically have, for me, right, and I've seen this in articles too, and I agree with what a lot of these people got to say. Like 6, right? 6 needs. We need a right guard. Okay. We need, not this guy, not this guy in the photo here, but we need his position. We need and we need multiple quarterbacks, right? But we need a wide receiver, right? I said, because, I mean, as little as Hyatt spent on the field last year, I don't know. It seems like he's been a disappointment. So I'm not so sure how they're kind of feeling about a Hyatt, right? If Slayton's gone, do they think Hyatt can just take his spot? Speed-wise, yeah. But route running ability and all, I don't know about that, right? So regardless, even if Hyatt does go, we still need another wide receiver, right? Our offensive line is relatively set. Somewhere along the line, it wouldn't be bad, right? if we went out. And let's give Theo another year to see what he can do. Let's hope he can stay healthy. But I mean, somebody, like a Darren Waller, who's just a straight up threat, right? In the passing game, it's like, where's Waller at? I mean, the guy's just a mismatch. Obviously, when he was healthy, right? When his hamstrings weren't hurting him, right? Or hindering him, shall we say. But somewhere along the line, we could be nice if we had a nice receiving, tight end, somebody real threat. So, but let's give Theo another year. I mean, he was progressing as I think. Is it after the first 4 games last year? I think he had 3 receptions, or after the first 3 games he had 4 receptions, something like that. So it was kind of like right. But he started taking off toward the end. Of course, then he got injured, right? Running backs, those guys, I don't want to say a dime a dozen, but I mean, unless you're going to go out and bring in like a Henry or something like that, there's plenty of you can get a good running back in the 4th round, 5th round, like with Tracy, possibly, right? There's going to be a 3.8 trillion undrafted free agent rookies, running backs out there. There'll be plenty of free agents out there on the cheap that you can bring running backs in. So I say, hey, if we want to go, if somebody like a Henry is available, whatever, I'm all for it, right? But we need a quarterback. We need 2. Actually, we need 3 because usually you have, like, I'd say, going into camp, 4 quarterbacks, but we need at least 2 to be on the roster, right? So we need quarterback, another wide receiver, and a right guard. Now I don't know if they're bringing back Van Roten. I did do a video recently on an article I read that the Giants were maybe looking to take a dive into the free agent guard market. Cool, right? So that's on the offensive side. Now on the defensive side, we got to get somebody next to. I really would love to get somebody next to the sexy one, because once again, he's up here. Okay, this is going to be his. It's hard to believe as fast as time's gone by. It's going to be his 7th season. Okay, now I'm not saying he's plummeting. You know what I mean? I mean, he might still be up here for the 7th season, maybe his 8th season, but somewhere along the line, okay, he's going to start. Right. Wouldn't it be nice to get somebody next to him? Maybe, obviously, not as good as him, because that's relatively tough to do. Because it's like some small. It's like getting Reggie White and getting somebody next to Reggie White as good as Reggie White. It's not going to happen. Right? But let's get somebody, if we can, right, next to Sexy, who is pretty good. Okay, Sexy's a 10. Can we get somebody like an 8, somewhere around there? Right, somebody who can consume some blocks or get some pressure on the quarterback. Because with Nacho, Nacho was never really much of a pass rusher. You pretty much knew that coming in. But he's supposed to be good at stopping the run, and the Giants haven't been good stopping the run since I think Abraham Lincoln was in office. It's been a while. Okay, so can we get a good defensive tackle to put up next to Sexy? The Giants have done well in the past. If you go back to, I keep saying this a lot of times, like the Cornelius Griffin, the 2000 draft, 2nd round from Alabama. Guy was a stud, right? And you go back in time, like the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round, the Giants over the past 25 drafts have done very well, right, at drafting defensive tackles in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round. We've had 1 or 2 misses here or there, but we've drafted some pretty good ones. The problem is a lot of those defensive tackles we drafted since 2000 with Cornelius Griffin, and he was one of them, right? In those past 25 drafts, those defensive tackles we've taken in the early rounds, unfortunately, we use them like Bic lighters. We use them and we just, boop, their 4 years is up, and get that out of here. We'll get somebody else, right? Cornelius Griffin, he finished his career, I think, with the Redskins. He played 4 years with the Giants. Giants, what do we want him for? Right? Let him go. So he finished his career with the Redskins. But the Giants, a lot of the times they draft these defensive tackles who are good, solid, right? Use them for 4 years and just let them go. But the Giants have done a very good job. Let's get somebody next to Sexy. Because obviously, you build up the trenches, that's huge, right? And we keep getting run on. It's very, very embarrassing. Very, very embarrassing, right? So defense, we need a tackle. Defensive tackle. Of course, now we need a safety, right? If we're not going to bring back Pinnock, we need a safety. Okay. Safeties are, they're not $25 million a year, right? So the Giants can certainly upgrade at that position. Now, we got safeties on the roster. There are a couple safeties in this draft. Now, there is one, can't remember the dude's name, I think he's from Georgia, who's a first rounder, possibly top 10, but I would be shocked. The Giants drafted a safety, number 3 overall. Okay. But I can't remember because I'm an idiot. There's a guy from Notre Dame. I believe he might be a second round pick. Maybe the Giants have done themselves very well with second round safeties, right? Landon Collins, Xavier McKinney, right? Mr. Newman. We've done very well drafting safeties in the past. Unfortunately, the odd thing about it is that all those 3 safeties I just mentioned, they got drafted in the second round. Since 2015, were all drafted by all different GMs, right? But the Giants have done very well for themselves drafting safeties in the second round. So, but if you're going to draft a safety in the second round, you got Newman second round, and you have another safety in the second round, and those guys should just we'll see you guys at the end of the season, right? There's the field. We'll see you at the end of the season, right? Those guys should be your safeties for hopefully years to come if you want to continue to pay them, right? So we need a safety, okay, and then we certainly are going to need a cornerback, no question. Now the thing is, we're not sure, if they do bring in a top-notch cornerback in free agency, right? Is it going to be, is going to light a fire under Banks's rear end? Right, and it's going to be just an all-out battle for that number 1 position or not? Well, because we've seen Banks, he can produce, but that's not always been the case, right? So it'll be interesting to see. Now, that might have been one of the reasons why Mr. Henderson, unfortunately, they had to say maybe bye-bye to him because they joined out and drafted Banks, and it seemed like he was taking a step backwards, right? So we're not developing the players. So if we got Phillips, now we still have, let me see here. Should still have Flott, right? What we had here? Flott was 3 years ago, right? Yeah. So we still got Flott. Okay. Right. So we got Phillips, we got Cordell Flott, and we got Banks. So we got 3 cornerbacks. We do have 3 cornerbacks. Okay. But, what kind of depth do we have behind that? Right. But we could use a top-notch. Now the Giants, of course, the Giants are linked to everybody. It's freaking amazing because you get these articles out there, right? The Giants are linked to so-and-so. Really? Then you get morons like me that, oh, my God, let me read this article. Oh, my God, yeah. So the Giants are linked to everybody, but the Giants were linked, obviously, to multiple cornerbacks, right? But some of the cornerbacks out there, some of the top-notch cornerbacks, I'm not saying I couldn't afford it, but, they're affordable. They're certainly in the Giants' range, without question, right? So the Giants could certainly go out and grab a good cornerback. Then if they went out in free agency and drafted a cornerback, they'd have Banks, right? They're free agent. They'd have Banks, they'd have Flott, and they'd have Phillips. So they would have 4 cornerbacks. Okay. Would they be a top 5 unit, top 10 unit? No, but they should be able to work with that, right? Especially if the cornerback they bring in, they're paying enough for it. If the cornerback they bring in a free agent, if he's their number 1. So the nice thing about, for the most part, okay, in free agency, and that doesn't always work out, but in free agency, is that when you bring a free agent in, especially if he's been around for 3-4 years, whatever, he has a body of work, right? That, on film, that this is what he does, is what he can do in the pros. When you're drafting somebody, it's like, well, this is what he can do in college. Okay, cool. Can he do that in the pros? Doesn't always work out like that. Now, of course, free agents, just, we've seen before in the past too, right? Just because a free agent really looks good with Team X, he's a free agent. Now he comes over to Team Y and they think he's going to play like he was with Team X. Well, it might be a different scheme. It might be that the coaches don't get the best out of him. It could be multiple things, right? And maybe he's not quite as good. Sometimes they're even better. You don't know. But at least you have a body of work to go by when you bring in a free agent, especially a top-notch free agent, right? So the Giants could go out and quite possibly with, one free agent move, right? Bring in a number one cornerback, right? And then they would still have Banks possibly for another 3 years because he's a first-round pick. So they got 2 years, and then they have possibly the fifth-year option they can pick up, right? They still have Flott for this final year. They got Phillips for this year and 2 more years, right? Then you have a free agent if they bring one in, right? They could also draft one too, right? They did pretty good with Phillips in last year's draft, right? In the 3rd round, hit it out of the park with him, right? So we'll have to wait and see. So there are 6 positions, right, that the Giants, to me, the need to fill, right? Now, the nice thing about it is we have obviously 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round. We have 2 4th rounds. So we have some nice draft capital there. So between free agents, okay, now we have 6 positions. However, we need a quarterback and we need another quarterback. So we have 6 to me. And some of these articles I read too, right, say the Giants have 6 positions, right? But we need 2 quarterbacks. So we need like 7 guys. So in free agency, they literally could bring in 2 or 3 guys, right? Plug and play players who can, right, be starters, okay? They could also bring in some other guys too who could be backups. But they can, free agency, without question, can go out and bring in a couple, 2, 3 plug and play starters and free agents. Then the other positions that they need, right? Positions of need, right? They can get that in the draft, right? Especially if Shane can do what he did last year. I mean, because with Malik, right? Newman, Phillips, Theo Johnson, and Tracy, and even Murasau, right? He only had 6 picks, and he really, really did good. Really did good, all 6 of them. And even Murasau, the 6th round pick himself, was productive. Right? He's not going to be Lawrence Taylor. He's not Dick Butkus or not like that. But for a 6th round pick, he was good, right? So, but also he's cheap and he's depth too. So that's something you need, right? So, but if Shane can do as well, it's a big if in this year's draft as he did last year. That'd be huge. I mean, the Giants should be able to fill all their holes. Okay, not saying we're going to the Super Bowl, not saying we're going to have a winning record, not, but we should at least be able to fill all the holes that we have between free agent money and the draft. Okay, because we're not losing a lot of, as I said, the big ones that I'm thinking of that we're, free agents that we're probably going to lose would be our safety, Pinnock, right? Azeez Ojulari, and he's a backup edge rusher, right? And then Slayton, who's our starting, but number 3 wide receiver. So, right. And then finally, let's see here. Once again, got to bring back, you guys, especially on the cheap, right? And I did videos, about talking about, we brought back Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan, right? Casey Kreider we brought back. Yeah. But so the Giants bringing back Chris Manhertz, Toman Fox, the undrafted free agent that we picked up a few years back. Guys hanging around, so right. And of course, I like it. You know, we brought back Kreider, right? We brought back the Hammer. Okay, so what shall I say, the Scottish Hammer? So I'm really glad we brought him back. Let's see here. So, Giants re-sign outside linebacker Toman Fox. Giants today re-signed outside linebacker Toman Fox, who has played 28 games and made one start in 3 seasons with the team. Now, a lot of times he spends on sometimes on the practice squad. So, right. Fox played 16 games as an undrafted rookie from the University of North Carolina in 2022, and has recorded 5 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, 2 sacks in his career. Fox also appeared in both of the Giants' postseason games as a rookie. Last season, Fox played 207 snaps on defense and 205 on special teams. So, you got to have guys like him. Is he going to be a difference maker? No. But you got to have guys like him, right? Very, very important. Special teams and defense, and he's depth, right? And he's cheap. Fox was set to become an exclusive rights free agent when the new league year begins at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. The Giants got the ball rolling on Wednesday. Oh, they talked about it. They said they signed Casey Kreider. But, Kreider, not Kreider, Fox, Toman Fox. As I said, he's been with the team a few years. He's going to be cheap. You got to have guys like him on the team. So, right. Let's see, the Giants continue to make moves ahead of the start of the new league year and re-sign the Scottish Hammer, Jamie Gillan. And also we're going to talk about Chris Mainhertz. Earlier, the team also brought back, obviously, I say Casey Kreider. So now you got the dynamic duo there. You got Kreider and the Hammer. Now, of course, the Hammer is also the holder, right? So you got Kreider's always snapping the ball to the Hammer, whether he's holding or whether he's going to be punting, right? Gillan is entering his 7th NFL season, which basically, for a punter can be almost absolutely nothing. It's almost like he's a rookie, really. I mean, punters can hang around for a long time. Now, this is Jamie's 4th year with the Giants. I'm glad, and he's gotten better, because I remember one of the things, one of his problems was it seemed like, especially when we first got him, right? The dude could punt the ball. I mean, he's got a leg, right? But the balls would kind of go like this. He punted at 60, but it got run back 40 yards. It's like, it's not too good, right? I mean, wow, punted at 60 yards. Wow. But of course, he outkicked the coverage because kicked it on a line drive. Well, now it's kind of more like, the mortar shot, right? Up and down. And by the time the object of is when it comes down, you want the guy getting ready to catch the ball, like, oh yeah, if I catch this and try to run, I'm going to get killed. I mean, right? That's what you want, and he's been getting better at that. So I'm really glad they're bringing him back. His 41.2 yard career net punting average is the highest in Giants history since 1976, when it first became an official statistic. 41.2 is yard career net punting average. So he's doing good. He's really doing good. A native of Inverness, Scotland, the Hammer moved to the United States as a teenager and picked up his nickname, the Scottish Hammer, from his high school football coach. Gillan grew up playing rugby and played for Highland Rugby Club before attending and playing rugby for Merchiston Castle School in Edinburgh. Okay. He did not play football until midway through his senior season at Leonardtown High School in Maryland. And then, of course, we brought back Mainhertz for his 10th NFL season. 6'6", right? 240, something like that. So it's a tall tight end. It's a tall target. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the thing is with him, obviously, he's not. You would think 6'6", right? And it says in this article here about it playing basketball too. You kind of figure that maybe he would be a nice kind of receiving threat, but that's not the case. He's played nine seasons, right? He has 29 catches. He had three catches all last year for the Giants. He played in all 17 games, 11 starts. He caught 3 balls for 30 yards. And one of them was for a touchdown. But he only caught, his past 2 seasons, he has had 5 receptions. Like I said, 9 years, he's had 29 receptions. So he basically averages 3 receptions a year. You would kind of think somebody that tall, right, and has a basketball background, rebounding, would, be able to at least somehow, run and block a guy out and jump up 6, there's not many cornerbacks out there that are 6'6", or whatever line. You should be able to outbox or outposition or what. 6'6", but that just doesn't work out. But his biggest asset obviously would be his blocking. Let's see. He played in all 17 games, made 11 starts in his first campaign with the Giants. He played 342 snaps on offense, 165 on special teams. Manhurts has played in 137 regular season games with 64 starts. He's been with the Saints, the Panthers, the Jaguars, the Broncos, and the Giants. He accomplished all that after not even playing college football. Rather, he was a 4-year basketball player with Canisius College, where he finished 4th in school history with 789 rebounds and led the team in rebounding in 3 consecutive seasons. He made the move to football after leaving Canisius and earned a tryout with the Bills. Does this say any more? Let's see. General Manager Joe Schoen continued to address his in-house free agents over the weekend, just a day removed from the league's legal tampering window being open. Let's see. The 32-year-old Manhurts was originally signed by the Bills as an undrafted free agent out of Canisius in 2015. The journeyman has also made stops with the Saints, the Panthers, the Jaguars, and the Broncos. He's been all over the place. The Bronx native has appeared in 137 games, 64 starts, holding in just 29 receptions for 301 yards and 3 touchdowns. At 6'6", or 235 pounds, he is primarily used as a blocking tight end, but also contributes on special teams, but not so much in the receiving department. 2024 Pro Football Focus gave Manhurts an overall grade of 69.3, which is not bad. Not bad at all. Almost a 70. I'll take that. The Giants have been doing a little in-house, but the Giants really didn't have any big-time free agents that they were losing, that they really were, I guess, overly worried about. Even if they brought back Pinnock, signed Aziz and Slayton, none of those guys is going to cost is going to cost $20 million a season. So we're not really losing a lot. The problem is, obviously, we don't have any quarterbacks on the roster except for Tommy Chick and Cutler Parmesan. But that, so it's almost 1 o'clock. All right. So, so in about 11 hours from now, if you have a, the app for, ESPN app on your phone or the NFL app on your phone, whatever, just turn your volume up because they're at 12:00 or 12:01. It's going to start erupting like it's 4th of July. So-and-so signing here, so-and-so signing there. Just look for the Giants, right? And I'll let you know, right, where we're going, right? Are we spending big bucks on a quarterback, mid-range quarterback, right? We're going after a nice cornerback. Interesting to say, but you can probably be rest assured that because the Giants do have money to spend, right? Today, Monday, right, at 12 o'clock or, somewhere shortly after that, within the first couple hours, look for at least the Giants to be making some sort of a move. Big move, because the Giants do have some money to spend. We have money to spend, but we also have many holes to fill as well, too. All right, guys, it's been almost 1 hour. All right, I'll be back again, tonight after day 1 of free agency. So whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.